Absolute pleasure here to be here with our co-host and celebrity guest today. This is Zina Escovedo, and we are on Bay Legends. And we wanted to do a segment on you because you have a certain insight in the business that most people don't have. So I wanted to kind of get right into it. And you grew up in a very famous family, and so can you tell me a little bit what it was like to grow up like that?
Hmm, that's kind of an interesting question. I mean, my whole family was constantly on tour.
Mm.
My father was on tour with Santana. My sister was with George Duke. My brothers were, having their own bands for a lot of things. And then I mostly was at the house by myself with my mother. So my
Mm.
mother and I are like extremely close.
Wow.
But we saw just, we used to go to all the concerts. And I mean, that was just incredible. I got to see just every kind of celebrity you could ever
Everybody.
think of,
You saw
R&B,
everybody.
gospel,
Mm-hmm.
rock. I mean, just everything. So it
Mm-hmm.
was it was incredible. But I think also because of the age that I was, I didn't think anything of it. I just always thought that they were just, all friends, which they were. And then I don't think until later on, that's when I knew that everybody we were hanging out with was famous, and I didn't know.
Right. I imagine that you were hanging out with other kids who were related to some of the other famous people, so it was just an everyday thing for you.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody was. You assumed everyone did this for a living. I
Yeah, I
imagine,
mean, I
right?
used to think that, everybody's parents were playing at nightclubs, and I thought
That's
everybody's
crazy.
family played
Right.
congas and
Mm-hmm.
drums and everything, and then when I heard somebody else, like, their father was a dentist, or I thought that that was actually weird,
Right.
so when I didn't, when I heard, oh, how come your family doesn't play congas, or,
Yeah.
I just didn't know the difference, because that was my
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. So were there any times? You told me that you don't play an instrument. Did that ever create any kind of like friction for you or hardship for you?
Well, not with the family, especially because my mother, her background is just, it's so family oriented. Like,
Mm.
that meant everything to her. Is the
Yes.
family has to be close no matter what. So when we were going to concerts, I never felt separate or different from the rest of the three kids.
Right.
I didn't honestly know that there was a difference,
Right.
But then when we would go to concerts, I would help sell the merchandise with my mother, and because we all wanted to keep it family, we didn't want
Right.
somebody else selling anything because the money might have gotten stolen and the
Yeah.
merchandise,
You
and
gotta trust the family. That's
we
right.
have to trust the family.
Right.
So we had to keep it, a good tight unit.
Mm.
So then when we did, people would come after the concert and say, hey, why aren't you, on stage playing drums?
Right.
And I said, well, I don't play. And the first thing that they would say is, what's wrong with you?
Right.
And so I didn't know that's how they saw me, I
Right.
guess.
Right.
And that's when I think that I started feeling a little bit different and separated, was only from the outside of the family, but not
Right.
from the inside of the
Right.
family.
You were still inside the family, your folks,
Of
right?
course.
But outside, they were kind of treating you, looking
Different.
at you different.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because I've said this many times that when you look at your father comes out, he has two arms right there. It's his sons, right?
Hmm.
They're with him 24/7. They, if he comes into town, they're on him.
Right.
They move around like that.
Yes.
And it's like, it's so inspirational to me to see a family that is that tight. And you said it was your mother that was kind of the centerpiece in that, right?
She is the rock of the family.
Mm.
I mean, the rock of the family. And there was a time that I think that my sister was, she just didn't, she was so tired because sometimes the concerts at that time, they didn't have a timer up on something, and they weren't timing you to say, okay, you have 10 more minutes on the stage. You
Right.
just played when you were done, and then that was it. So,
Right.
my sis, everybody was like, did a 2-hour concert because you can play whenever you wanted to. You didn't have a first set and a second set. You just played from 5 o'clock p.m. till 2 o'clock in the morning. And you stopped
Right.
whenever.
Right.
So I think everybody was tired. So after the show, the whole family was, signing autographs with Sheila because she was the drummer. She played so hard, that at the end of the show, she was just so tired. She says, I just don't feel like signing autographs. So she went back to a dressing room. My mother was so angry.
Wow.
So the next day she called my sister. She goes, "Don't you ever not, talk to fans or whatever." She says, "Because those are the people that paid for your album.
Right.
And that's why you have that
Keep it
car,
real.
and that's why you have that house.
Right.
So you better make sure that you sign the autograph." So the next concert, we're there, and she was tired. She's like signing her autographs, like, "Okay, Mom."
Exactly.
But my mother, she will.
So she kept you all grounded.
Yes, she doesn't let anybody get out
That's
of
beautiful.
the way.
That's really beautiful. Now I know that you had some experiences because I know Sheila worked with Prince at one point. Mm-hmm. Do you have any stories of kind of backstage
about
stories?
Prince?
Yeah, about Prince. Like, I mean, come on, like everyone is like wondering what's going on with that brother. So,
well, as I am now, I kind of have a big mouth. So, and it gets me into a lot of trouble.
No, not you.
with a lot of things. So I'm rebellious now, and I was rebellious back then. So Prince was about to go on stage, and it was, I don't know if it was the Coliseum or, it might have been like another big, gigantic arena. So my mother does not, we grew up of not swearing, right? We can't use any cuss words, nothing, we were getting whooped. Mm-hmm. So she was very strict. So right when Prince was about to go on stage, and I got up in his face and I said, "You shouldn't cuss because my mother's going to be very upset at you." And I was dead serious. And he looked at me like I was crazy. And he says, "Well, it's my show." And I said, "I know, but you can't be cussing on stage. Like, it's not a very nice thing to do."
You said it to Prince.
To Prince.
Dang.
And then he kind of looked at me like, "You've got to be kidding. Like, Sheila, get your little sister under control because this is a little ridiculous." And he went on stage and he's cussing. I was like, "Mom's is going to get you. Mom's is going to get you."
He's over there with a belt just like,
right.
Oh, man. No, so I've known you for a minute, right? And
yes.
and I got to say that you're just one of the most beautiful, just honest people. And it's such a pleasure to have you on in this program and have you sharing the stage with us because I know you mentioned earlier that you don't do music,
right.
but you're all music. I mean, music is all up in you, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so no better person to be able to come up here and give us an insight. And really that's what the show is going to be about. It's going to be about the people who are behind the scenes. We'll have other people who are related to famous people. We'll have people who are backstage playing behind the greats like the Victoria Theodores, the Eric Moores, and these guys coming and telling us the stories like you just told us.
Yes.
Because all we usually hear from is the famous people.
True.
Right? It's like,
okay, but the people in the back made those people famous.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, because you just throw most of those people on stage. Some of them, like the Michael Jacksons, Beyonces, they can hold their own. They can just be up there.
Right.
But there's a lot of them, if you take their band away, it's just, you might as well be at karaoke. You might as well be at karaoke.
Yeah.
There's bands make or break an artist. So we don't get any love. And then, I noticed Randy, our other co-host, was talking about how the Bay has just not gotten a lot of love in a long time. Mm-hmm. We had what was that group? Raphael Sadiq, Tony. The Tonys. I mean, they were like pretty much the last group that put us on the map. I can't think of really anyone, who's put it on there. Oh, I'm sorry. We had, Her was one of the new groups. She did great.
And my father actually, I think that she just texted Sheila. It was after my sister did the Prince tribute.
Yes. Yeah, that was great.
And then Her actually sent Sheila a picture of my father and her as a child together. And so we didn't even know that they met when she was a little girl. So that was, that's just history right there. We had no idea.
Let me just say, Her is raw. She is raw. Incredible. I saw her when I played with her father when she was a little girl, and she would pull this bass up, which was twice her size, and start killing it on bass and put that down, grab the keyboard. She just could play everything.
Yeah.
And sing, And so I was blown away that she got signed to like Sony, and then they kind of like shelved her, and then and she finally started doing really well. And now she finally got, those Grammys. I was so happy to see that. But yeah, I would have to say she's probably the last person that's really put things on the map here in the Bay.
For the Bay Area people.
Yeah, but we got some ridiculous talent here. Mm-hmm. In fact, to be honest, Prince never came here. He never got his musicians from anywhere else. He came here.
Right.
Prince got his
Yeah.
musicians from Oakland because we have an Oakland funk that nobody else has in the world.
And some of them was actually from my father's band.
There you go.
And they went to Sheila's band, and then they went to Prince's band. So.
Yeah, I mean, you see the cycle, so many people. So, getting back to your music thing, you told me stories in the past about how disciplined your family was, how much you just hated hearing drums after a while. Tell us about that.
I think that's why I just was not a drummer. I didn't become any of that because it was always my sister, Sheila, my brother Juan, and then Peter Michael.
Yes.
And so they used to, they always grabbed all of the drums, the congas, anything that was just the loudest sound. We never had like a nice piano in the, or a violin or, something that's just soft. No, everything,
no
a
soft
pot, the counter, the steering wheel, a door handle. I mean, it was just anything.
Yeah.
I was like, can everybody just shut up just for a moment? It would just drive me nuts.
Yeah,
it would just drive me nuts. And they would just play the whole night.
Right.
So, like I said, I was always outside. I had to get some kind of peace and quiet somewhere.
That is so cool. So I see we don't even think about it. I was a musician and I would drive my family crazy because I'd be playing the same song for 8 hours. Right? And I'd just be sitting there. And I was telling the stories about people I was dating. I'd be playing piano on their backs,
Yes.
It's in my spirit. It's in my soul. I'm thinking about it 24/7, and
to date a musician.
Well, hey,
it's the most frustrating thing. Let me tell you.
You hurt me now.
Because that's their life. I mean, they breathe music all the time. Sometimes I'm in the car with my brother Peter Michael, and it's nice for me when it's quiet. I'm fine with quiet, and he's just he's fidgeting with the handles and the thing, and I'll just turn around and go, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Oh, I was just playing to the music." What music do you hear? The radio's off. There's nothing playing. He goes, there's like 4 songs that just happen to pop in my head, and I'm going, God. So I would have to turn up a song just to get the 4 songs out of his mind, so he'd focus on just one song.
You just be blocking all your family just like that.
I know. God knew what he was doing when he made me, I'm telling you.
No, I'm scared. I'm scared of this woman. I got to tell that story because that's the funniest story. I was hanging out with you at a club in Alameda.
Yes.
We're just sitting there. There's another couple, and we're just hanging out, chilling.
Right.
This guy walks up and starts talking, and we're just kind of like giving him these subtle hints. Hey, could we I was trying to, I was like, hey, can we just move this along? Thank you for coming over. And you just turn around and you say, hey, does this story you're telling us come in an audiobook? And I could not believe you just looked him dead in the eye. Does this story come in audiobook?
Because he was talking for so long. I'm like, I might as well pay for it.
I was like, that is some cold stuff right there. And he didn't even get it. We're laughing. I'm falling off my chair. And he just kept going. He's just still going.
Yeah, if you want to answer to a question, I don't know if I'm the right person to come to, because it might be bad, and it's the truth. It might be good, but I'll tell it kind of how I feel.
No, I appreciate that. That's very East Coast.
But I do have good friends, though. That's the thing. They know that if they ask me something, I'll tell them.
Well, if you go to the East Coast, as I was mentioning, you go to the East Coast, they're going to tell you if they don't like you, they're going to tell you they don't like you.
Yeah.
Right. Here in the West, you a little shifty.
Yeah.
So that's why
because everybody's very like, it's
right.
Okay.
No, I love the fact that you keep it real.
That's
I really do. Now, is that your little puppy there? That's your dog?
that's my daughter.
Your daughter.
Baby girl.
Baby girl, you want to come over here, baby girl?
She's trying to see where she's going.
Oh yeah, she's not seeing very well right now.
No. No.
Oh, the poor thing.
She's getting there. She's getting there.
Oh Lord. Well, Zina, I just want to say thank you for coming on and being part of this amazing historical show. We're going to definitely shed a light on everything in the Bay that people have just not heard of. And I'm talking about even social justice. We're not going to just stop with just music.
Right.
It's, we have the Black Panther Party here. We want to talk to those people and hear the backstories. This is so relevant right now, what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
We need to shed a light on the Bay, just it's an incredible place to be.
Right. And I think,
So,
and also too, because we were just talking also to one of my family members, is that, how music is such a huge part of, trying to get through COVID for musicians because of the fact that, we live off of, feeling good and, trying our best to get through everything.
Exactly.
And it's just been so hard for certain people because there is, which we were talking about, that there is a lot of depression right now, and people are just trying to get through even just a day at a time.
Yes.
And to me, which is such a blessing and a miracle, is people like you and Randy and my family and anybody that can create music from scratch is just absolutely a blessing, because it really touches people's hearts to where it gets them through the next 5 minutes, the next day, to deal with even going to work that day,
I
or
agree.
so it's, you should feel blessed that you can actually be able to give that to the world. I mean, that's a big thing. That's a talent that
Thank
is.
thank you for recognizing that. I feel very honored to be part of that community.
Mhm.
And your father probably gave me the best compliment ever at one of the house parties in Danville. And he said, I want you to mark my words, you can quote me. He says, you're an incredible musician. And to hear that, because he's kind of like a surrogate father for me,
Yes.
And I really admire everyone from his era and him and anyone who can play on this level. And for musicians like myself, it's not about particularly the fame and the fortune. It's about my getting accolades from people, earning my keep, reaching a level of excellence and being able to be admired by those people who I admire.
Right.
And so that's what I'm doing for,
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, I've been broke many, many years.
A lot of musicians are, but that's the first thing that
but
comes is
it's about
they belong to their heart,
it's
their soul.
artistry,
Just that's everything that gets them. So a lot of times money isn't a big part of somebody's passion.
Yeah, right.
And it usually comes maybe later on, but you have to stick to what you love. It's just, otherwise it's not worth it.
I'm with you. Well, we're going to keep doing this. And we're going to have incredible shows coming up. We have, between the three of us, we know tons of musicians, and we're honored to bring them to you and get their background stories and their on-the-road stories. It's going to be a wild ride, and we are so excited to be. This is our second episode right here, and we are so excited. Really excited.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing. So enjoy yourselves until next time. Peace out.